Hi guys, Black Wolf here, and this is The False Prince audiobook part 24. This is gonna be about 9 minutes long. No, I'm just kidding. It's gonna be about 6 or 7 minutes long. I actually really have no idea how long it's gonna be, but I will have it finished. Please so. It was impossible to know what time it was when Ma and Cragen returned from me again. It didn't feel as if I'd had any rest, but my arms ached so badly I was sure I'd slept for some time. Whatever food Imogen gave me had long ceased to offer any comfort. Cragen reached the dungeon first and got directly in my face with a snarl. He asked, "Where's the rock?" "Gold," I mumbled. "Enough!" Mott pulled Cragen's outstretched arm down. "This is between the boy and the master, not you." Cragen grabbed my hair to force me to look at him. "You're not the prince yet, so I can tell you this. I'm going to do everything in my power to see that Connor chooses one of the other two boys, because after they ride off to the castle, I'm going to kill you myself, and you will beg for mercy. But you'll come to understand just how merciless I can be." "I said enough," Mott repeated. "Let him down, Cragen." They released the chains, and I crumpled to the floor like a rag doll. Cragen kicked me lightly until I let him have the satisfaction of a groan, and then dropped an armful of clothes on me. "The master wishes to speak with you. Get dressed." I didn't move until Mott finally crouched to the floor and began dressing me. Then he cursed and said to Cragen, "He's bled through his bandages. Get me some more. I'll have to get them from upstairs," Cragen said. "We didn't have much down here before." "Then get them." Cragen's foot pounded up the stairs while I lay face down on the filthy floor. Mott worked silently to remove my bandages. One of them pulled where dried sweat and blood had bonded to my skin. I cringed, and Mott breathed an apology. With tears in my eyes, he said, "You have to help me. Please, Mott. I can't do this. I work for Connor, not you." Then after a moment, he sighed tiredly and added, "After all this, Master Connor is still considering you. That says a lot. It's time to stop thinking of yourself as an orphan and look at yourself as a prince." I will always be an orphan now. And for the first time in as long as I can remember, I cried. I cried for my lost family and for every circumstance in my life that led me here. Mott held my forehead until calm slowly returned to me. "Forgive me," I mumbled. "You're half starved and exhausted," he said. "Forgive me. It was my job to bring this upon you." Moments later, Cragen returned. He handed the new bandage to Mott and then stood back as Mott carefully peeled away the rest of the old one. "Give me a light," he directed Cragen. Cragen handed him a candle which they held close to me. "It's going to scar," Mott said. "It cut deeper than I thought. So I think so far we saved it from any infection." They poured more liquid onto the cut. I clawed at the floor for relief from the pain, but made little sound. There was no energy for that. The sting passed, and they wrapped me in a new bandage. It took both Mott and Cragen to help me get dressed. When they walked me upstairs, the early morning light was fierce on my eyes, and I stumbled backward. Anything to get away from so much sun. "Get him some water," Mott said to someone nearby while still holding me firmly. A cup appeared, and Mott pressed it to my lips. I took a few steps, then turned my head away. The light didn't hurt so badly now. I faintly realized how much I'd missed seeing it. "We can't delay any longer," Mott said. "Let's take him to Connor." They sat me in a chair facing Connor's desk. Connor stared at me for what seemed like an eternity and then said, "You look terrible." I said nothing. "If you learn nothing else during your time here, Sage, perhaps you will learn not to defy me. You are 2 nights down there. Did you know it's been so long? I hope you had time to reflect that disobedience to me will bring you nothing but misery." Again, I had no response. It occurred to me that obedience to him offered its own form of misery, but I wasn't going to tell him that. Besides, it hurt to talk. Connor nodded to Mott, who brought out a tray and set it on Connor's desk. It was filled with items I recognized as having from various hiding places around my bed and my drawers. Connor picked up a few things that I'd pickpocketed over the last few days. A butter knife, a gold cufflink, several coins. "No need to ask about these," he said. "You obviously managed to find some time amongst your other studies to steal from me and those in this household." "Yes, that was obvious," so I remained silent. Then Connor picked up some papers. "But I must ask about these. Do you know what's on them?" "I don't know what you're looking at," I mumbled. "They're notes someone made. Whoever wrote them seems to have detailed some strange plans. They may be interpreted as ways to get rid of me and should he become king. Everything from the rather non-offensive appointing me as a foreign ambassador to poisoning my wine." "Who wrote this, Sage?" I shook my head. "Is your name on it?" "Of course not. As I said, this is only my interpretation of the. Tell me who wrote them so I can ask about it." "I wanted to practice writing with my right hand. Found these in a bin set for fire kindling. I must ask you directly, did you write these notes? I started to laugh and choke on it as the pain thumped into my side. You can't think I'm that foolish. Roden couldn't have made these notes either, Connor said. It must be Tobias. Ask him then. I think not, Connor said. I believe I'll let Tobias rest secure in the belief that he's in the lead for my decision. The more confident he is, if he authored these pages, that overconfidence will guide him to expose himself. Connor chuckled and then added, I'm sure the secret is safe between you and me, correct? He didn't wait for a response, and I offered none. Connor stood and walked over to me. He lifted my face and inspected it for cuts and bruises. You none the worse after a stay in my dungeons. I hope the experience helped you. He took the blank expression on my face as an answer and continued, You're a difficult young man, Sage, but I expect that comes from your lack of discipline and supervision, which means I can train it out of you. I had heard that you were down in the dungeons. You told that Mont you would be my prince. Is that so? You need me. Why is that? It took a few seconds to collect my breath to answer. Tobias and Roden can't convince the regents. I can. So you'll be their prince, Connor said, but will you be my prince? Slowly I nodded. Connor smiled and said, You have 1 more week to prove it to me. Sleep today, and you'll resume lessons tomorrow. Now get some rest. He never asked me about the rock, but he got what he really wanted. I had promised to be his prince. So that was chapter 24, and please don't forget to look up The False Prince audiobook part 25, because it will definitely be there, and I'm trying to get as many chapters as I can done tonight, because there's this one chapter I really want to read. It's chapter 41, and I really want to read it, because it exposes all. And, yeah, so I just really want to read that chapter. So I'm going to try to get down as many as I can tonight, and so, please look up The False Prince audiobook part 25, because it will be there, and, good night. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, and subscribe.